Hello and welcome to Gigajam. This is the introductory lesson of the Essential Guitar Skills course, Part 1. I'm Natalie Barras and this man here is our tutor, David Young. David, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
I'm very well, yes. I'm very much looking forward to 10 episodes of guitar mayhem and fun and enjoyment.
Jolly good.
Excellent. OK, well, today is our introductory lesson.
Yes, it is.
Introduce me to a guitar.
OK, well, here's a guitar here.
Hello, guitar.
OK, the guitar's basically got two main bits to it, I suppose you would say.
Right.
The body and the neck. I'll start at the neck end. OK, here we've got the neck here, where we do most of our playing. This is a headstock.
Headstock.
Headstock at the top, which is actually on this guitar part of the neck. It's all carved out of the same piece of wood.
Can it sometimes be different then?
Rarely.
Right.
So it's all one piece, really. You've got machine heads here, which are the tuning pegs. So you tune your guitar with these pegs here. So these will tighten or slacken the strings, sharpen them if it's tightening, or flatten them if you're slackening the strings. I shall just demonstrate here. If I pluck this guitar string here, and if I turn the machine head away from me, that tightens that up.
Yes.
And that flattens it back down again.
And they're attached, the strings are attached through those, is it?
Yeah, the guitar strings go through these little posts. They're through there, and by turning the peg, it winds a little wheel. These move around, tightens up the guitar string, or slackens it.
All right,
Okay.
so we've got our strings. How many strings?
So these are our strings, 6 guitar strings, okay. Coming back down the neck, we've got the frets. As we move up the fingerboard, or the neck, the notes go up. There's a semitone between each fret, okay. That's up, that's back down.
Right.
Okay, which brings me to the frets and the guitar strings. 6 guitar strings, as you say. The low E is the one nearest me, not the one nearest the floor.
Right.
So a lot of people continue to say the bottom string, but that's actually the top string. Okay. So everything we describe in terms of up, down, low, high is all to do with pitch.
So not positioning.
Not positioning at all, purely pitch. So that's the top string because it's got the highest pitch.
Yeah.
And that's the lowest string with the lowest pitch.
All right, and that's, if we look at those strings, the lowest one is a lot thicker.
It's a thicker guitar string, yes, definitely, quite a lot thicker. And they get thinner as you work towards the top string. Okay.
Are they numbered?
They are numbered indeed. The low string is number 6, and then moving across 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Top string is string number 1. And their note names are E, A, D, G, B, and the high E. There's 2 octaves between the bottom E and the top E.
All right, I was going to say, what's the difference between
2
that?
octaves
2
between
octaves.
those. That's correct. So there's your 6 guitar strings, low E to high E, and the names in between, which brings us down to the body of the guitar. On the body, probably the most obvious thing is the pickups.
The pickups, what do they do?
The pickups are effectively microphones which are just sitting underneath the guitar string, like literally holding a little microphone underneath your guitar strings, picking up the sound from the vibration of the guitar strings, sending it down the cable
Yes.
into the amplifier, which I'll speak about shortly.
All right.
But it goes down the cable into the amplifier, and as you can see on here, I've got more than 1 pickup. Some other guitars will have 3 pickups, some will have 2. Some guitars actually do only have 1 pickup.
Why do you have 2 pickups then? What's
Usually
the
there is more than
them?
1 pickup, and the reason is to create various tones from your guitar. Certain styles of music, they're quite happy with 1 tone, and they've built guitars with only 1 pickup. But generally, you'll have at least 2 pickups. Now, if I strum my guitar over by the neck, it's quite a warm, mellow sound. If I strum down here by the bridge, where the strings are fastened, it's quite trebly. Quite bright.
Yeah, distinct difference between
Quite a difference in tone there. Similarly, wherever pickup is working, if it's a pickup by the neck, you'll get quite a warm tone. If it's back by the bridge, it's a much more harsh type tone.
That switch that you pushed and pulled then, what does that do?
This is a pickup selector switch, so that actually chooses how you want the pickups to be set. Simple as that. So as you move the switch back across, these pickups are actually divided into more than 1 pickup within themselves, in effect. So as I've got the switch over by the neck pickup's working, and as you move back, you're moving back through the sequence of pickups back towards the bridge pickup, which is more trebly. So that's what that does. Here I've got a volume control.
Okay, these silver dials.
That's on 0, and that's on 10. Okay, and these are tone controls.
Tone.
So again, tone controls will affect the sound. If I turn that right down to 0, you'll still hear it, but it'll be quite muddy. If I turn that back up, it brightens the sound up, it just sharpens it up a bit.
It's like almost on a camera when you're sort of pulling it into
Exactly,
focus.
sort of brings it into focus a bit, yeah. Now you might want to move that around and get slightly different tones for, you know, blues as opposed to heavy metal or whatever you're playing. So you'd have different tones and different pickup settings for that matter as well.
All right.
That's pretty much what the guitar does.
What's that thing?
Other than the Tremolo Arm or Whammy Bar. What's happening here is this arm is attached into the bridge, and as I depress the arm, the bridge gets raised. So as the bridge is raised from the guitar, it actually slackens the guitar strings.
Do that again.
And the pitch drops.
So that's lifting it up. Oh,
Lifting it up, slackens the guitar string off. Okay, and we use, instead of finger vibrato, which would be this, for people playing, violinists do that type of thing also, to make the notes a little bit warmer and sustains, you can do it with the Whammy Bar. But now commonly, a lot of rock guitar players in particular use this as a real tool for dramatic kind of guitar playing, particularly in heavy rock, that type of stuff. So that's what that does.
So this is obviously an electric guitar.
Yes.
What's the difference between this and an acoustic guitar?
Well, in terms of the guitar and the notation, nothing. One guitar is the same as the other, so you can learn to play pretty much anything on either guitar. You can certainly do anything on an electric guitar that you can do on an acoustic guitar. There are certain styles of playing on an acoustic guitar you couldn't do very easily that you could do on an electric guitar, because electric guitar is physically a little bit easier to play. The strings bend much more easily than on an acoustic guitar. But in terms of the notation, the neck, the body, they are the same instrument. The electric guitar is amplified, consequently it can be much louder. But it also means by using the amplifier that we can have a greater variety of sounds, whereas an acoustic guitar is fundamentally a one-sound guitar.
Okay, so people at home that are following the Gigajam Essential Guitar Skills course, Part 1, if they haven't got an electric guitar, they can still play along with an acoustic?
Yeah, I mean, with an acoustic guitar, certainly there's lessons, I think up around about lessons 7, 8 and 9, where it really is the type of guitar playing you would do on an acoustic guitar, strumming, chords, that type of playing. The early part's more like electric guitar rock playing, but physically you could still do it on an acoustic guitar, yes you could.
Excellent stuff. But obviously here in the studio we've got electric guitars.
That's right.
And with those we need an amplifier.
We certainly do.
Talk me through it.
Okay, this amplifier here is a fairly standard guitar amplifier, I think similar to what most people will probably have. They may have amplifiers a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, but it'll probably work in much the same way, I should think. It's a 2-channel amplifier. What that means is you've effectively got 2 amplifiers in one amplifier, if you like. One channel you can set up as one type of sound, the other channel you can set up as a completely different type of sound.
So there's 2 channels but only one instrument going in?
Correct. Channel 1 here is my clean sound, which is what you would expect a guitar to sound like. Nice clean sound. Volume, bass, middle, treble. So you can obviously adjust those to your personal taste. Right at the far end here we've got reverb. If I take the reverb off completely and play my guitar, it sounds quite dead, very much here in the room.
Yeah.
If I turn the reverb up to a ridiculously high level, just to demonstrate, sounds like I'm in a dungeon or a very big room of some description.
Very echoey.
Quite echoey. So if I turn that down a bit, but it's quite nice to have a bit of reverb on there. Most people will have it on their amplifiers, I would expect. That's basically channel 1, the clean sound. All you've got is a bass, middle and treble and the volume. The
Channel
reverb.
2.
That channel 2, clicking my little button, which swaps over to channel 2.
It sounds kind of hummy already.
It already sounds like something more dramatic is going to happen,
It
doesn't
does.
it? My little light has turned to red, so you can see at a glance if you're playing what sound you're on, if you're in a moment of silence and you're about to play. The main difference on this channel is the gain. Now if I turn the gain right down and then begin to roll it back up, you can hear that overdrive or distortion, as we call it, beginning to kick in. So you get this kind of...
Very rocky, very darkness.
Very darkness rock kind of sound, exactly. We've still got the treble, we've still got the bass, we've still got the volume, but the main thing is that the higher you turn up the gain, the more of that distortion you will get. That's really the main difference, and the reverb applies to both channels, as I say.
Okay, so that's that guitar, and we
Yep.
talked about that linking up to that amp.
Okay.
Let's just quickly talk about this guitar down by your feet. If you lift it up so we can have a view of it, this to me looks bizarre.
This is quite a radically different type of instrument that maybe not a lot of viewers have seen before. It's a Midi guitar. That means that it can connect into your computer in exactly the same way that a keyboard can. So this guitar can sound like a guitar, but it can also sound like a piano, it can sound like a flute, whatever. It triggers a sound in the computer on your sound card or whatever to actually change the sound of the guitar. It's got buttons rather than guitar strings, which seems a bit strange, but to be honest with you, they feel pretty good, and they feel much the same as playing a real guitar.
Can I just have a little listen? That sounds absolutely amazing. So realistic.
Amazing.
Obviously, in part 2, we're going to look at how that interacts with our Gigajam software that we've got in front of us.
Yes.
So yes, join us back here for part 2, where we'll be looking at the software in more detail, the course notes, and getting interactive and analysing our performance. See you soon. Welcome back to part 2, the lesson which is our introduction to the 10 episodes of Gigajam, the Essential Guitar Skills course, part 1. I'm Natalie Barris, and your tutor for the course, and guiding us through the introduction, David Young. David, before the break we were looking at the guitar, the electric guitar, the bits here, there and everywhere. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
Gigajam.
Gigajam as a course. Okay, what we've tried to do with Gigajam, and I think we've succeeded with this, is that we're stepping through a logical pathway when you're learning how to play. So we don't tell you anything without explaining it, and usually showing you that on a video clip as well. So you'll see, if you can just help me out there, that actually at the top of the lesson, you will see that there are lesson objectives right at the very beginning. So on the left-hand side there on that column, it tells you, or it sets out right at the beginning exactly what you're going to try and achieve during that lesson. In this particular guitar lesson, which would be lesson number 1, we're talking about learning how to play power chords, how to hold the plectrum, and how to understand the reading of whole notes and common time. So we teach people to read music as we go along. Nothing too difficult or scary, but everything that we learn how to play, you can read as well. Quite clearly put forward, I think.
And always backing it up with examples.
Always backing it up with examples. So in all the lessons we have several exercises, and this is not just for the guitar, for the keyboards, the drums and the bass guitar as well, of course, where you can play along with the exercises. You can see video clips, in the case of the guitar course, of me demonstrating the exercises. So a video will show you how to play the exercise. You can obviously also hear that exercise, and there will be notation showing what that music is.
Okay.
So you can play the exercise.
Let's have a look at a video. Let me scroll down to exercise 1
here we go. Here's exercise 1 here. Now you'll see at the top, just above the music there, well obviously we'll get into how you read that music and how you play those chords in the actual lesson. But at the moment, just to understand how the course works in principle, there's 3 icons there, the first of which is a little video icon. Now, if you click any of those icons, it will automatically load in the exercise which is underneath the icons.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you click that video icon, you will soon see a video of me playing that exercise.
I see it and I hear it.
There it is. Now you can hear the music.
Yeah.
You can hear when I'm playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how the musical example's written. So you can see what's going on. So you get an idea of what it's meant to do, what it's supposed to look like. It can sharpen up your technique, make sure you're sitting with the correct posture, all that type of stuff you can get from the video clip, obviously.
All the sort of things that you would say ask a teacher or a tutor, but that you haven't got in your book.
Exactly, and I think by watching people doing something correctly, subliminally that kind of goes in as well. So the video is very useful in that regard, not just hearing what the music sounds like.
What are the other icons that we've got
Okay,
there?
the one on the extreme right is the MIDI file. Now that's the backing track to which you will be playing, and if you just wanted to hear that in isolation, you can click on that and listen to it. But the most exciting part, I think, I would say, is that middle icon there with the yellow G for Gigajam on it. If you just like to click that, that will bring up something called the guitar extractor.
The extractor.
Guitar extractor.
The guitar extractor.
Yes, indeed. Which is a piece of software which will play the backing track and allow you to play along with it. And as you can see, that looks somewhat similar to a car CD player, that type of thing. And a little graphic shows the CD going into the extractor. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner, just before you click the bottom right-hand corner, obviously, that little icon, if you just like to click that again, that takes that away. Click it, and what it does is it brings down a mixing desk. So when you hear the track in there, you've probably got drums, bass guitar or bass, keyboards, a metronome, piano, whatever.
Everything.
Everything that you'd find in most bands, will be there and playing. Now you can increase the volume or decrease the volume on any of those instruments if you so desire. You might want a little bit more bass, you might want a little bit more drums to keep you in time, whatever it may be.
What would be the effect of that?
The effect of that is just that from a musical point of view, you might like a loud drum beat to play to, you might find the piano is not the sound you want to hear prominently, whatever that may be, you can just mix it. They're pretty well mixed as they are, to be perfectly honest, but the individual can move them. And how you do that, if you can see on each of the channels, there's a nice little green button there, and it's just a little slider, and you slide that to the left and that will turn the instrument down a little bit, or you slide it to the right, which will turn the volume up.
Okay, that's simple enough. So what else have we got on the
Okay, now up
extractor?
above that, you can see play, underneath the word Gigajam. You've got play, you've then got pause, you've then got stop, much the same as any CD player. Next to that, you've got the loop button. The exercises that are written on the page will, or on your computer, will last for 16 bars only unless you put the loop button on. It'll just run 16 bars and it'll stop. Put the loop button on, it'll just run and run and run and run as long as you want it to go for. So that's very useful. Obviously, you can keep going rather than stopping and starting all the time, which is a bit of a pain. So that's really, really good. You'll also see that there's a tempo indication on the top right-hand side. Now, all the exercises in part 1 come up at 80 beats per minute. Now, you can decrease that if that's a little bit too fast when you're trying to learn, or indeed you can go faster if you think you can play at 80 beats per minute to improve the speed of your chord changes, whatever. You can speed that right up and, improve that way. So you've got something driving you along all the time.
Yeah, there's
which
always
keeps
something you can do
nudging
better.
you along. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can keep getting quicker, or of course slow it down if it's a little bit too fast.
All right.
So that's really, really good in that regard. Over on the left-hand side, where the instruments are listed, again the metronome and the drums and the piano and what have you, you'll see an M next to each instrument. That means mute. So as a guitarist, for example, when I'm playing the exercise, I don't really want the guitar part in the extractor, because is it the extractor that I can hear, or is it my playing that I can hear?
Yeah.
So I tend to click the M and get rid of the overdrive guitar, and then it's clear that any guitar playing I can hear is me.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit play and have a listen to it.
Okay. Is this with the guitar in? That's with the guitar taken out.
Okay.
Oh no, there we go.
So I could get rid of the guitar.
There's a guitar, overdrive guitar's there. That's still there. Overdrive guitar.
Overdrive guitar.
There you go. So if you click out the overdrive guitar, that'll then work. And
Oh, there's the piano that's in.
That's it. And if you highlight the other guitar part, it might have been that was taken out. There you go. Now obviously I can then play along with that.
So now we know that guitar sound is you and nobody else. What about if I speed it up a bit?
Okay. Okay.
Before it got too quick.
Yes, thank you. So you can go through that. You can speed it up. You can slow it down. You can take out the instruments that you'd rather not hear. In my case, the guitar. You can increase the volume of maybe the drums or the bass or whatever you like to keep you in time, or whatever your personal choice is. That's absolutely, ideal. Fantastic to play along to. Really, really good. The other thing which you can do, which is very, very good, is it can record your performance, and it will then analyse it for you. In other words, it will give you a percentage score as to how well you played it, and it will actually print up a musical score, which is colour coded, to show you how accurately you played the piece of music you tried to play.
Okay, so in order to do that, we need a MIDI guitar.
We need a MIDI guitar. Now, you can't do that with a conventional guitar, not at least without a MIDI pickup. Now, this guitar over there by your good self is a conventional guitar with a MIDI pickup attached, which is that thin black strip just before the bridge.
Just that there?
That's it there. That's a new pickup which has been attached to that guitar. You can attach it to any guitar. You buy it as a unit. You attach it to the guitar, and it comes with a set-top box which goes into your computer, and that will convert it into MIDI, so you can then record your guitar into the computer. You then don't use the amplifier, you go straight into the computer.
But obviously, I mean, if you've got an acoustic guitar, you can still play along with the tracks and learn the
You can still play away, of course. That's exactly what you can do. Regarding the MIDI, the other thing, of course, you can do is use the MIDI guitar, which we spoke about before the break, which is this guitar here. This will record straight in. You don't need any adaptions, you don't need a pickup or whatever. Feels slightly different to a conventional guitar because we have buttons, I think as we discussed earlier, rather than guitar strings, but it works in exactly the same way. Plug it straight into your computer and you're ready to go and you can analyse immediately.
Should we have a go?
Why not?
All right, I'm pushing the red record button.
Okay, here we go.
And this is just you doing exercise 1. And don't worry if you don't know what's going on in exercise 1, because obviously in lesson 1,
of course,
we'll be talking about it in more depth.
So I'm playing along to that there.
Okay, that's a good pace actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so if you stop that, hit the stop button there, and then you click the A for analyse. Now, as we didn't go the whole way through the exercise, I'll score a pretty low score, which is what I'm sticking to anyway. But it will bring up an analysis of how I just played that part.
Ah, here we are. Okay, I'll put it full screen.
Okay, let's see how I did.
Right, your overall grading was 36.88%.
You sound disappointed.
Not disappointed.
Okay, I should just point out that it will only mark the percentage of the exercise you play. So I played about 50%, this is the truth, about 50% of the exercise there. So even played perfectly, 50% is as good a mark as you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
Enough of your excuses.
Okay.
Let's look at what you should have played. This is on the top line.
Yep. The top line, what that's telling you is that if you play the notes absolutely perfectly at the right time in the right place, they should come up as black notes, and the grey sort of trail after the note is showing you the duration of the chord. Okay. So that's then mirrored underneath.
Right.
So
well, not mirrored strictly,
well,
is
it's not strictly mirrored, you're quite right. But as you can see, there's a few green lines, which I think are good.
They are good,
There's a
yes.
colour coordination, colour key thing under there, which tells you that green's good. Red's poor, unfortunately.
Yes. Don't know what was going on here between bars 3 and 4.
Don't know what was going on there. But what you'll find is when you play on a MIDI guitar, it's programmed very, very accurately. So if you play something in real life which misses the note slightly, I mean a correct note, but not exactly in the middle of the fret, etc., it's programmed to get it absolutely perfectly right. So you can be a little bit forgiving with some of the scores that you would get, definitely.
All right, so practice is required for you.
Practice is certainly required for me, yes.
All right, well, you've got time because between now and our 10 episodes, I want to see you practicing.
I will do.
All right, lovely. Join us for our Essential Guitar Skills course, Part 1, with myself and Mr. David Young.